So I'm going to talk about two methods on how to make a wreath and show you how to do that. So I've got just a little small wreath frame here. This is one of the methods that I'm going to show you how to do. And you'll just take some floral wire and I'm going to secure it to my wreath frame. Twist it on, give it several twists to get it to stay on there. And then this is where uh, I really enjoy being able to do this in the winter time. At Christmas, you're able to go out and get cut foliage. So today I just have cedar. In the past, I have done pine, um, spruce. You can do any kind, holly, but you're going to make bundles. So you're going to go out, prune some of your greenery that you have from trees that's on your property, or get permission from maybe a family friend or your neighbor and be able to go out and get several samples. I'm going to show you how to put them together. So I secure them with rubber bands and I will get several sprigs. So anywhere from 3 to 5. And to make them be able to be more useful, and to also not waste your foliage whenever you're pruning. If you have some that's not as pretty, not as full as the others, put that behind your prettiest foliage that you have. So that way you're bulking up your bundles, but also you're being able to see the best part of the foliage too. So you don't always have to have the best sprigs. You can get some that's not as good and be able to put them in there. So right here, I've got 3 little sprigs here of cedar. I take my rubber band and wrap it around several times to secure it. If you don't do this, a lot of times they will fall out with you. So you want to make sure that you have them secured. And then you're going to take your frame and I'm going to put my first bundle here onto the frame. Take my wire, my floral wire that I have tied onto the wreath frame, and wrap it around 3 or 4 times very tightly to make it secure. So I've got my first one on. I'm going to get my next one. And I wait till the end to trim up my greenery because I want to look to see what the finished product will look like. So I'm wrapping it around again on this one about 3 to 4 times as well. Oh, the wire, the gauge is 26. So that's what I've got this wire. So here is my second one that I put on. And you can get different wreath frames. I tried to do smaller ones because you can leave the greenery longer and cut it down smaller. Because I have done really large wreath frames before and they can be huge if you do some of those. So the next one, I'm just going to put it next right here on top and I'll layer them. So I'm going to take my wire, wrap it around 3 to 4 times to secure it. Continuing to go around. And this looks like it will probably take about 3 to 4 more bundles before it's completely done. Yeah, I think 2 more after this one will do it. So continuing to wrap it around. And the next method that I'm going to show you is doing this exact same principle as well. It's just, I think, a little bit easier than using the wire. So you can see here, this is one of the branches here that is not as pretty as the other ones. I stuck it in the back and have more of the prettier foliage in the front. I have used holly with berries on them before, And if you're doing it at home, it does well. At a classroom setting, a lot of times the berries will fall off and it's kind of a lot, like in the floor and things. So at home, I think it would do a little bit better. But the holly is really pretty. I also have done use like Nandina uh, before as well, and that's really pretty too. So this is my last one. I think actually we'll put maybe one more in here just to make sure it is completely full. You can also use this open area here as like a place to put your bow or something like that. But I'm going to go ahead and put one more bundle here just to make sure it's full. Putting this, securing it just a couple more times. And then you're going to give yourself just a little bit of excess wire to be able to tie it off. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to secure it to the wreath frame. Just twisting it on, making sure it will stay in place. And with it being this type, a circle, you don't have to have some wire to hang it up with. You can just use the wreath frame to hang it. But you're going to have your finished wreath. Sometimes people will want them where they are large. You can trim this up at this point, and be able to add your decorations, your ornaments, your bows, your bow here. You can put that on there. But I'm going to show you this one. This method is using the wire. What I normally do for my classes is use a wreath making machine from Mitchell Metals. And this option, actually, you have forms or wreath forms. So you can have a circle. They come, this is a smaller one. This one only has 8 sections in there that you would fill with your greenery. I do door swags also. And this one here has 5. So it would hang vertically on your door. But with this one, you can buy what I did. I bought the machine separately, the mechanics of it, and we built the table. At that time, and it should still be that way as well, the instructions on the dimensions for how to build the table came with it. You can also buy a table. It's more expensive when you buy them both together and they're both metal, but this wooden one works just very good. I've had this machine for about 7 years, I guess. So this method, it's doing the exact same principle that you were doing with the wire, except with this, you have a clamp. So whenever you have this clamp here, you mash down and it closes. So it is causing these little metal pieces here to be clamped down. So I put it into the groove of this clamp. I will put my greenery there on top of it, mash it down, and it will secure it into place. I will do the same thing like I did with the other ones, all the way around, layering them. So this cedar, it has some little berries on it. So I'm going to layer them on top of each other, clamping it down and securing it in place and working my way around. With this one also, I do recommend having the rubber bands to secure them, because this, again, this will fall out if you do not have them secured with those bands. With the greenery, I do recommend putting it in a place where it's not going to be in full sun. If it can stay in full shade for the time period that you have it outside, and always keep these outside. They do not do well inside. They will dry out a whole lot faster. But putting them in a location where it's going to stay shady and cool, the cooler the winter we have, the longer these will last. I've had uh, people who have come to my classes and made these and said that they were able to have them to last on through February. So it will last quite a while. A lot of times I will make these in early December and they will do just fine. So this last one is a little bit tricky. You have to lift up the very first one that you put in and slide this last one in underneath it to be able to secure it in place. They also, instead of getting one of these where you have to have it on a table or make your own table, they do have one where you can clamp it onto an existing table, and that one's about $60 or $70, and it's a lever action that you would use with your hand to mash it down instead of with your foot. But here's an example of this one. And like if I wanted to trim it up, I could at this point to make it more even. A lot of times I will hang it on a door, look at it, and be able to trim it up to see what I would want to be done with it. I also, a lot of times, will have bows for people to be able to put onto their wreaths. So here's an example of one of the bows that we did last year. I use pipe cleaners and just put it on there, twist it, and then just kind of make sure that it's evened up. And I'll show you all here in a moment how to make a bow. But there's an example of that. And then I have, you can put ornaments on it. With that, I just string those onto pipe cleaners as well and just secure them around the wreath frame also to hold them into place. And again, like this one here, it's round. You can just use the form to be able to hang it up and be able to put it on your door. So that one is for Christmas or winter that you would be able to do. And I was trying to think of throughout the season different ones when I first got this machine of what other things could I do with it to be able to utilize it throughout the season and not just one time a year. So another thing that you could do is for the springtime, it's kind of like a little bird's nest, just taking twigs. And I'm using just regular rubber bands today, but I would recommend using a darker brown rubber band or a black one. I have done black with these as well, so it's not as visible. But you're just going to bundle sticks together, and you could either use the wire, the floral wire method, wrapping this around a wreath form, or you can use this machine here and just clamp them down. Now with these, if they're dry, you don't want to mash them too much because you will shatter them. But you're just going to go around clamping them in. And you can also reuse these little wreath forms. I have before. The only thing is you want to try to, whenever you bend them back out, you bend them as straight as you possibly can. Because if you don't, it's not going to fit into this clamp as well as it would if it was brand new. Just working my way around with these branches. Also, if you cut them when they're green, they're going to bend more. You're not going to have to worry about breaking them as much as well. These are some that I had left over from class, and these are pretty dry. But this one as well. You can put a bow on it, be able to put some decorations. So there's the bird nest wreath. And then if you wanted to add a bow to it, you could, at this point, put the bow on. If you wanted to actually put like a little bird's nest, you could wire that in as well with some floral wire. Put that in there, wire it in, and then attach your bow to the side of it. So that's a spring one that you could do. Also, if you had forsythia, and it's still a little bit cool, you can use these wreaths for like a few days. The only thing is you have to just keep in mind that with your temperatures and also what you're using, if it's not going to hold up very well or it's going to dry out and wilt, you don't want that to happen. So just be mindful of what you're using. Try to use foliage that's going to not dry out and that's going to last. So that brings us to summer. And the summer one, it's going to be hot in the summertime. So you can't really use foliage at this point in time because it's going to really, really dry out. I have heard of people using sealants like on the greenery, like the cedar, the pine. I normally don't use that on those because it's cooler temperatures. It's going to last, especially like I said, putting it in the shade. But in the summertime, it's just going to be really hot. So you can actually use these forms with fake flowers too. So how I do that, I take a bunch of fake flowers and bend that stem, and then I will use these to place around it. So I'll take, and that also bulks it up to where it's going to be able to be enough diameter for these little, this wreath frame to be able to grab a hold of and be able to be secure. So just pushing that in place, and you're able to fluff it up a little bit also as you're going along with it. With the flowers like this, I want to make sure that they are facing up, looking at me. I don't want anything to be hidden on these. So you'll take them, kind of make them where you're able to see them from the front, bend them, and take them and put them into the section to hold them into place. And again, just working your way around with these. You can see how that is looking. And again, with this, also you could use the wire as well on this too. On this one here, I will show you how I make a bow. There's lots of different ways that you can. And also the sticks that you're using, this one, of course, will last forever. And then the one that I've got an example for the fall, it's going to last for several years too. So really the only one that's really going to not last as long is going to be the greenery that you'll use for Christmas, that wreath. So just kind of fluff it up. So that would be my finished wreath for summer. And I'll show you how I would make a bow for that. So I normally like to double my ribbon. You don't have to, but I like to do that. And I get at least 9 feet of ribbon for my bows. So this one here, I've got one ribbon that's wired. So this is a burlap that I have here. I'm going to get off about 9 feet of that. I'm going to start off with this one. And then this one does not have wire to it, but because this burlap, it has wire, I'm able to form it a lot easier. I'm not as good with making bows with a ribbon that does not have wire in it. If you're just getting started with making bows, it really helps to have that wire. So I'm going to take my ribbon, layer it like that, and I start out with my center loop that's going to be in the very center of your bow. So I take my hand and I grip this tip of it, turn it around, making my loop like this. So you've got, now just for ease of me making it, so I just took the end of it, made a loop. So that is my very first start to my bow. I'm now going to take my hand and I want to see the blue, the checkered blue. So I'm going to take it and twist it to where I now see the blue. I'm going to take it and I'm going to make 3 loops on either side. So my first loop, I'm going to take it, make my loop, grab a hold of it. So I've got a loop here now. I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. So I can't see this blue checkered. I can't see it. I want to see it. So I twist it and I make my other loop. And I try to get them as even as I can. Sometimes it's hard to do, but I try to get it as even as possible. So there's my first 2 loops. Now I'm going to do 2 more on either side. So again, I cannot see the checkered blue on this side. I'm going to take it and twist it so that I can see it. And I'm going to make my next loop. So I've got 2 on this side, 1 on this side. I'll make another one. So bring it back over. Again, can't see it. Twist it. Making my next loop. And sometimes I will make it where these 2, like here, this one here is shorter. This one's a little bit longer. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll make them all the same size. The main thing is whatever you do on this side, try to do it over here so it's even and balanced. So the last loop on this side, I'm going to make it, twisting it. And then I can see it now, so I'm going to make my loop, grab a hold of everything now. So this side is now done. I've done 3 loops over here. I'm coming back over here to this one. I'm going to twist it one last time and make my final loop. And there's my final loop on that one. Now, to make the tail, I'm going to make one great big loop. So I've got 3 over here, 3 over here. I started with my middle one. Now I'm going to twist it one more time, and this is going to be my tail. So I'm going to make just one big loop and grab a hold of it, and then cut my excess of this one off. Now, I've got one big loop, so I'm going to cut that at the bottom here in just a moment. But I pinch everything really tightly, and then I grab a pipe cleaner, because that's normally easier to use for bows than the floral wire is. And I'll take my pipe cleaner, run it through, and as tight as I can, I'll twist it into place. Okay. And then I just kind of get everything even, look at it a little bit. And then I will take the bottom of it, the tail, I'm going to cut it in half like that. So I've got two now. And then it just depends whether you want to have it diagonal or if you wanted to cut triangles in it. I'll, for instance, let's see, I'll do diagonal today. So I'll just do diagonal cuts, trying to get them even. And there's my finished bow. So I can now take it, put it onto my wreath, making sure you're getting it. I like to get it around the metal, if possible, instead of just onto the fake flowers or flowers, because that way I know for sure it's not going to come off. And you can add more ribbon to it. This is just using two. I have used three before. I have just used one before. But there would be my bow. So that was an example of the summer one. And then the last one that I have an example of is the fall wreath. So you can save corn husks. Sweet corn a lot of times will turn black kind of as they are drying. So I try to get some that you would actually use for cooking, corn husks. And I've just bundled them up. I've got maybe 12, 10 to 12 in each little bundle. It's mainly just enough to be able to have enough diameter to be able to be secure in the machine and in the form. But I've bundled them again, all of these with rubber bands. And for instance, they'll come, you'll get several in a pack, and these will dry, and you'll be able to use these for several years as well. You just want to make sure that you don't put them in an area where they could become crushed. You want to make sure that you do store them properly. If you use field corn, that will do better than the sweet corn that I mentioned. It will hold its color and look a little bit better for you. So I'm going to take, again, rubber band, make my final bundle, and then again, I'm just working my way around it. Get the rest of them here. So I'll take it, try to get the best side that you've got mashed down to secure, and then you're going to layer them. With this one, it would look pretty if you tied some or wired some Indian corn onto it. That would look really pretty. And you can trim these up as well using scissors. Be able to, if some's a little bit longer than others. Once you've actually you put it into the form, you can trim it up as well, just like you did the greenery. And you can make these fuller also. You can also fan them out some because I put several together in here, so that will help make it larger also, where you can just pull them apart. So you do. So that would be your corn husk wreath. Again, putting a bow onto it as well. And like I mentioned, some corn also. So that's for the fall that you can do. There's also a lot of other wreaths that you could possibly do as well. But those are the ones that I've done before, that I've done classes on. But with this machine, there's a lot of options